good evening, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to the State of the School address here at Goodlettsville Middle School. Just to kind of explain to you what State of the School address is, this is just our opportunity at this point to talk about what we did this year and what we want to do going into next year, talk a little bit about money. Money's always important. And now what happens is with the district, we have to get input from our community before they'll approve the budget. So if you didn't sign in before you came into the cafeteria, make sure you sign in before you leave today so that we can have your signature about the budget. So we'll get started. I'm Michelle Demps. I'm the principal here at Goodlettsville Middle School. So, if you didn't know, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. All right, next slide, Ms. Spencer. All right, so tonight we're just going to reflect on the new curriculum that we got from math and ELA, talk about co-teaching a little bit. Those were some of our classroom practices. Intervention, talk about the GATE program, which is expanding and growing. And clubs, which the kids absolutely loved. During first semester, clubs was the big thing. We got amazing survey comments like, I never want to leave Goodlettsville Middle School, it's the best. I think it was just the clubs. We'll look at some data so that you can see what the kids did in terms of math and reading. Talk about our school culture, our panorama survey, our vision statement, attendance and discipline. And then talent management. I know that is something we need to talk about. Staffing is a big, big deal. We are going through a fifth grade transition where fifth grade will return to the elementary school. But also, post-COVID, we have a staffing shortage. So we want to talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about our future, where we're headed. We've got the IB program that is returning. I'm super excited. And again, school culture, talent management, our budget. The master schedule that is going to be so nice next year, it's flexible, and also just family and community engagement, which we really need to make sure our families are engaged. All right, so we said that one. All right, first things first, teaching and learning. And 21-22 was a good year. The kids learned a lot this year. We had a change in our reading curriculum. We moved in fifth grade to wit and wisdom, and in sixth through eighth grade, we moved to my perspectives. Teachers were on a deep learning curve this year. We'll be on a deep learning curve going into next year. Math teachers had illustrative math, which was for all grade levels. So this year was really a year where everybody was learning a lot about new ways and new concepts to do things. With our instructional practices, we are still trying to perfect that co-teaching. And co-teaching is just having two teachers in a classroom to be able to support and help our students. We realize that our students have a learning gap and quite a bit of learning loss. So we wanted to make sure that this year we could really team up together and give kids a different experience. Small group instruction has been a big deal here. And having, 5 to 7 students in a small group, we realize that the kids get a lot of learning done. We also have additional service time for our English learners and our special education students, which we absolutely knew would be necessary. So we've been trying a lot of new instructional practices. I won't say we perfected them because we have not. But we are working really hard to find out what works best at Goodlettsville. All right, so students at Goodlettsville take the iReady Math and iReady Reading test as part of our intervention program that helps us to tier the students out based on their needs. And so our MTSS program, or our intervention program, focuses on students that are Tier 2 and Tier 3. Our Tier 1 students also have the opportunity for intervention, but their intervention was more like standards versus skills, and we use IXL for our students that test out in Tier 1. So we've had to increase the amount of intervention. We did that first semester. We really focused on making sure that we closed the gap in terms of skills, and the students absolutely love that, because we had clubs and SEL to mix in with that, so it was the perfect combination for the students. So we have the MAP assessment. First semester, we focused on skills, and then we did do a standards-based test at the end of the first semester, and our students did really well. When we got to the MAP test in January, I was literally blown away. The students did not only meet their expectations, they exceeded the expectations in math and English language arts. So here we go, iReady. So the purple are the students that were 3 grade levels below. In August, we started out the year getting that information in terms of skills, and then the kids took another test in November for iReady, and we were able to decrease the number of students that are now 3 years below grade level. We had an amazing decrease and then increases in other places. Our orange-red color are our students that were 2 grade levels below. We were able to decrease that number as well. Sometimes you'll see the numbers go up, but it's still a plus, because that means that we still had kids to grow. They left the 3 below and went to the 2 below, and that's still great growth for the kids. And then the gray is 1 below. Again, we had a serious decrease there. And then we had a lot of kids that moved from being below grade level to being early on grade level. We had a 3% increase there, and then we got a lot of kids to move, doubled our numbers, the number of students that actually are on grade level. So we went from 4% to 8%, which is a lot. When you start talking about state formulas and state equations and how they average performance, if these were our numbers for the state, we would have had a 5. This is for reading, so we've got kids reading. In math, shout out to our math teachers. With math, 3 below, you see a significant decrease in the number of students that are 3 years below grade level in math. 2 below, significant increase or decrease. And we've still got some work to do in terms of getting our kids to grade level in math. But they're on their way. We had a 2% increase there. And then we had a nice jump. Many of our students now are early on grade level, which is good. All right. So iReady. When I got this report, this was the August report from math. The diamonds show where the students should be or where they're projected to be. In August, we were quite worried. We were especially worried about 6th grade because they had fallen to a negative number in 6th grade on the math test. So at that point, we decided that we would be a little radical and do some different things in order to get our kids where they needed to be. So we're a little worried here. And because we worried and we pushed and we worked hard and we had so many small groups and we figured out what the needs were, the kids not only met their projected proficiency level, they exceeded it. So these are your scores from January, when the kids took the math test the second time. So applause to all of you. To all teachers. I know it was rough. We were all, it was rough, but the children came through for you. And so I'm so proud of them and the work they've done and the teachers here. So this was our math, and we had fantastic scores on the January math assessment for math. All right, this is English Language Arts in August. We were worried. So the diamond again is where they should have been and where they were projected to be. So we kicked it into high gear. So in January, once again, most of the children hit the goal and then exceeded the goal. So again, we were super excited about the growth that the kids made and the achievements. So applause to the teachers here. This was hard. I saw a lot of tears. I saw a lot of blood, sweat, and tears of us working with some children that they were trying really hard. The kids had a hard time transitioning back to the building. There were a lot of things going on when school started, but we stuck with them. All right, any questions about our data and where Goodlettsville, like phenomenal work. All right, so we are now coming up on 10 ready. And as we approach 10 ready, we use the math data to give us a prediction about how our students are going to do on the 10 ready test. Students take 10 ready starting next week. So we'll start to kind of go through that data now. So last year for TCAP in 2021, our goal was for 5.3% of all of our students to be on track and to achieve mastery. That is across the board, school-wide. And then we had, I can't see those other two, or 7% in English Language Arts was our goal, and 3% in math last year. We wanted them to be on track and achieve mastery. So those are our goals last year. In 2022, notice that our AMO with the state, or our goal with the state, is for all of our students, 11.2% of all of our students to be on track and have mastery in ELA and math. So our goal from the state doubled, but I have no doubts that they're going to make it. In 2022, the ELA goal is 12.8% of all the students are on track or have mastery in English Language Arts. And in math, the goal is 9.1%. And then in the red, you see that we have a double AMO. If we make the double AMO, I think the state is going to actually, throw us a really nice parade out here for the hard work. We're not too far from that goal in some places. So in English Language Arts, currently on the MAP test, 16% of all of our students are on track for mastery. we have already exceeded the 12.8% goal in ELA by 4%. In math, we are at 8.9% of our students being on track for mastery. We are 0.2 of a percentage point away from meeting our math goal. And then in terms of the overall AMO, the goal from the state, the goal from the state is 11.2. Goodlettsville Middle School right now is at 12.45%, so we have already met our school-wide goal. We are so close, so close. I am super excited. And so one of the things that we really did this year was pull out all the stops. And I got very creative and hired 2 math teachers to have small groups with our students in grades 5 and 6 and then in 7 and 8. So I know we're going to make it. All right, questions about our academic achievement? Comments? How do you feel? I mean, you know, like, clap for yourself. You all did a beautiful job. I know it was difficult. It was really hard. I think sometimes we didn't think that, you know, it was there. But our students really did perform well. So I'm just waiting for that 0.2%. It's just there. We got this. All right, so something else we need to talk about. This year, school culture was very different. Post-COVID, we realized that many of our students, they did come back with some issues, and they were social issues. They were not necessarily academic issues. A lot of our children, they endured some things during COVID. They may have lost a parent. They may have lost a grandparent. Parents lost jobs. Parents lost homes. And all of those things affect children. And it affects their ability to be able to come to school every day and have an open mind about learning. And we recognize that. So we have a lot of things in place to help our students. So the first thing that we did do back in the summer is we came up with this wonderful vision of what we wanted to see our community be. And we all agreed that Goodlettsville Middle School is a community where self-discovery is encouraged, it is supported, and it is celebrated. Students are prepared to pursue their personal endeavors with conviction and advocate for themselves. This year, the students really brought the vision alive. They advocate better than some adults I've ever seen. And I think a lot of it has to do with the very strong relationship that the students have with their teachers, with their administrators, with the people that are just in their neighborhood, with Goodlettsville Police Department, Dollar General, Rec Room Shoes. We've had so many people to come and be a part of our community. And I love to see and hear our students advocate for themselves. It is super important in today's society that they be able to speak up for what their needs are and to be able to tell people what they need. All right, so our student voices are super important to us. And when they were asked on the Panorama survey, what would you change about your school? The big one was dress code. And I wish I could say the dress code could change, but there won't be much change to the dress code as we move into the new school year. The dress code at Goodlettsville is very much about safety and keeping the students safe. So there are specific colors to that. And then there are specific types of clothing that the students wear. In this past year, we picked up several weapons, knives, laser pointers. We've had some pretty big things here. And all of those were, in the big pocket of a hoodie, where nobody could see it or really pay attention to it. So that won't be changing much. We'll still have the Goodlettsville t-shirt with the jeans. But we'll stick to no hoodies in the building and making sure that we keep everybody safe. The other thing was phones. We are coming up on TCAP. Student cell phones will be taken up before the test because during the test, no one, not even teachers, can have a cell phone out or on. So parents will be taking those up as we get into testing season. So we still have bathrooms, lunch, bullying is something that we're working on. And really, they said people, I don't know if I can do anything about people, but we do like to hear and see what the kids are concerned about. Their needs are extremely important. That's why we come here every day, is to create an experience that the kids can be proud of. So then we asked, what do you like best about your school? And naturally, it is middle school. And the most important thing in middle school, number one, top of the list every time, every year, are friends. And so we are wanting to create more opportunities for the students to be social. Now that we are all kind of coasting down this side of COVID hill, we'll be able to do a lot more where they can interact socially with each other here at the school. And so they love the teachers. Can't blame them for that. Many of them love class and sports and clubs. And then again, there's people and fun. So we try to have a lot of fun here in Goodlettsville as best we can. All right. So to reinforce that and to reinforce our culture, 96% of our students come to school every day. They love it here. They don't like to go home on holidays, but they have to go home. The district overall attendance is 91.4%, and we're at 96%. So we're exceeding the district goal. Our chronic absence is 6.4%. The district is 29.7%. So once again, we are still above average with our students out here at Goodlettsville. Satisfactory attendance, 67.7% of our kids have satisfactory attendance. The district is 42.6%. And then perfect attendance. In the district, it's only 6.1%, and we're at 8.9%. So our children love to be here. They absolutely love being here, and we absolutely love having them here. So our attendance is one of the areas where we got awards this year for our attendance. Again, we try to make this a wonderful experience for the kids. All right, and this is just a little bit about the dress code. This will go home with the students before school is out. Again, we're still going to have the same dress code we've had. Kids can have a zip front jacket. There are no flip-flops in the building. That's not only for children, but that's for adults too. And they can wear the standard school attire, or they can wear their Goodlettsville Spirit t-shirts, their jeans. But again, no flip-flops. All right, and in terms of behavior, we have had some behavior that the district deems, punishable, disciplinary as an infraction. And most of our behavior issues this year came out of 7th grade. Our 7th graders, we want to just make sure that we let everybody know Our seventh graders were the fifth graders 2 years ago that only were in school for one semester before schools closed. They were fifth graders. They were brand new to the building. So they are on a real curve when it comes to maturity. So where they would have had 2 years to gain some skills, they didn't have those. They were at home. So we have to take that into consideration when we look at those numbers. They were a challenging bunch, but we loved them in spite of. And now here we are at the end of the year, and suddenly they have grown wings and they are just taking off. But I honestly think it was because they finally figured out we refuse to give up. We are not going to give up on you. You can do this. We did have some students that we had to move on to a better environment. That really did help us out. So when I look, when we look at these numbers, I don't want you to be judgmental. What I want you to realize is look at the obstacles that those sweet babies had to overcome in order to get an education. They had not been in middle school but a semester when school stopped. All right, so a lot of this went around talent management. We do have a teacher shortage in the state of Tennessee. It's not just here, it's all over. We had in 2021-22, we lost 4 employees before the end of the first semester. We lost 1 support person, and then we were able to make up the loss that we had as certificated personnel, and we hired 4 people coming back in January. We had a lot of, the kids went without the first semester in so many places. And so we tried our best to accommodate it. But again, I'm very slow to hire. I want the absolute best, like #1 for the students at Goodlettsville. And so we got that in January. We were advised of the Reimagine Schools initiative with the district last year, probably around this time last year. And as a result, 5th grade will not be at Goodlettsville Middle School or any of the middle schools, Madison either, in the 22-23 school year. They will all go back to the elementary school. As a result, Goodlettsville lost 16 teachers as a result of the consolidation and the transition. So that was, and still is, it's very hard to accept, but that's what it is. Now we will look like a lot of middle schools across the state. Most middle schools in the state of Tennessee are grades 6 through 8. As I spoke with our board member earlier today, Ms. Masters, I did tell her that now we can actually do some things in middle school that need to happen. A lot of the kids are very disconnected from the academies at the high school. They don't understand them, they don't know what it's about. And we really have not had the time to even, sit down and talk to them about what the academies do. So now we can start to build a program around those things that the kids should experience in middle school. They need to know before they leave here, what are their strengths and their weaknesses? What do I do well and what is not for me? That's how they make the decision about the academy. So they're supposed to get that here and then find the school where they can nurture their talents. But with 5th grade being in the building, every single body in the building, according to the schedule, is used. Now, that's not the case. We have a lot of teachers that will have 3 classes, core classes a day, but then they have 2 or 3 other classes where we can flex it and do something different. So I'm super excited about that. And about the kids being able to not just grow academically, but they've got to figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are. So, great segue to next year. So we're still going to continue to use the curriculum set forth by the district, and we're still going to do professional development with our teachers. The International Baccalaureate program has been at Goodlettsville for several years now, but what we are going to do next year is restore the program so that it is something our kids can participate in. So, and of course, we're going to continue to use iReady. And then for our attendance and culture next year, to help our sixth graders out, they're our current fifth graders. We decided that we were going to do a Trojan orientation program. So we will have 30 of our eighth graders that will become mentors to all of our sixth graders to help them transition and to mature into middle school. Next year, that program is extremely important in getting the students ready for International Baccalaureate. IB will only be offered to 7th and 8th graders or 7th and 8th graders at Goodlettsville. IB is very challenging. It is extremely rigorous. It demands from our students. And so as a result, we've got to make sure in 6th grade when we receive them, our students, that they know how to organize, they know how to take notes, they know how to use the new IB platform where all of their work will be housed. The students in 7th and 8th grade that are in IB have to do a capstone project within the school and then one within the community. Ladies and gentlemen, that takes a whole lot of discipline on the part of the child, and to be able to schedule their time and know what they need to do and know how to research. They've got to read. If we don't do that in 6th grade, we'll see our IB program fall again, and that's not what we want to do here. So the Trojan orientation program, the activities with the kids will be very intentional, and our 8th graders are rising 7th graders, and we have more than 30 that will be able to exhibit leadership skills for our 6th graders. So I'm super excited about that. Next year, we're going to lean more on our partners to provide some financial support and stability for us. Budgets are short. Money is tight. And so just as you are feeling that pinch, schools are feeling that pinch as well. We don't have a lot of money next year to operate. So we're, everybody is feeling the pinch of inflation, unsettling economy, and so we're not any different. So we'll still have clubs and SEL groups, social emotional learning groups with our counselors. I think I'm most excited about the flexible schedule, and then just increasing the opportunity to engage with the students on a daily basis. So they have some time every day that they're working on something that they feel is important to them, not just what we think is important. All right, so if you had questions about IB and what it is, because if you ask around in the district, people give you kind of a vague answer, and they're like, well, so let's talk about what it is. So when you see International Baccalaureate and you see MYP, that's the middle years program. That's what we have here. Now, with IB, it's very different, and with parents next year, we're going to have several parent meetings to kind of explain this because it's a real complex type of thing. But even in IB, middle years is considered to be 9th and 10th grade. They still consider that to be the middle years, which is not our typical thinking. So it is going to take all of us, you know, kind of thinking backwards on this thing. So it is, and you know, so what exactly is the International Baccalaureate Program? It is just a nonprofit foundation motivated by its mission to create a better world through education. If you are a teacher, an administrator, if you work in a school, we bought into the idea that education is your key to the lock. Anything and everything is possible if you get an education. And so that's what International Baccalaureate does. One of my big attractions to this, when students decide that college is going to be their pathway, in the state of Tennessee, the kids are limited. They give you Hope Scholarship money to go to school in the state of Tennessee. But what about those students that really could thrive at an Ivy League school? Or another school that is more customized to what their needs are? What about those students that have autism or Asperger's? And there's a school in Ohio for them. Why can't they go to that school? What keeps them away from that? So IB gives them a very unique portfolio for scholarship. And so it sets them apart. And that's really what I want our students to be able to do. The sky is the limit. Nashville, Tennessee is not the limit. The sky is the limit. I think about all of those wonderful people that said Michelle is bigger than this. Let's invest in Michelle and send Michelle to school outside of Tennessee. And because of that, I felt the need to come back and to give back and to figure out how to offer students the same opportunity I had and to teach them how to maneuver the water so that they can get where they want to go and be exactly what they want to be. And so IB is our ticket. The kids and the community need this. That's what IB is. It aims to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world. We need peace right now, and we need our students to be innovative and creative enough to come up with the solutions that, you know, my old brain, I don't understand that. Technology is their thing, and technology is a large piece of their solution process. They find solutions and they make sure that technology is incorporated in that some kind of way. Whereas for me, it's, you know, notebook, paper, and a pen. And they're like, no, Dr. Can you use your computer, please? Yeah, I guess, but it's their time. This is their world. And we need to give them the opportunity to create their own solutions. And so, again, we want them to have a peaceful world with intercultural understanding and respect. One thing that we fight with here, the magic word respect, is huge. So we have to allow the students to tell us and to give us an image of what does respect look like for you. Because it is very different from the respect that I want. So when we create our IB learners, our people, our students, this is what we look for before they leave in the 8th grade or go into the 9th grade. They should ask a lot of questions. They should be knowledgeable and then know where to get the knowledge from. They should be thinkers. They should be able to communicate well. The one thing that I want students to be able to do is to be able to communicate with people. not shrug their shoulders and then allow somebody else to make a decision for them that's not right. The kids should have principles and values. And as teachers and adults and parents and family and community, we have to display that for them. If you talk the talk, walk the walk. Be open-minded. That means that there are so many different solutions to one problem. They care, but they'll also take some risk. They know how to balance their lives. And then they have to be reflective. They have to take a look at life and say, okay, this is what I did, and I accomplished a lot, and I've still got so much to accomplish. So this is something that is near and dear to my heart, because I think we've got to do better about teaching our children how to learn. A lot of our children don't do school well. They don't know how to do that. And your overachievers are people that have mastered the ability to learn how to learn. But every child can learn to do that. There has to be conceptual understanding. Conceptual understanding and learning is difficult, not just for the kids, but the teachers as well. It takes a lot of learning and a lot of thought. We want kids to come up with big ideas. We want them to learn in context. Community service is huge. And then they've got to be creative, critical, and reflective thinkers. So we've got to improve our physical environment, our student incentives. We've got to continue to push for student voice, and we have to provide our kids with leadership opportunities. One thing that we cannot do here at Goodlettsville Middle School is to control every single move that children make. That goes against our vision of self-discovery and self-exploration. This is a wonderful place to learn what's right and what's wrong. It's a controlled environment to a certain extent, and the children have the opportunity to recover when they make mistakes. So the district realizes, and this is not just Goodlettsville, there's many schools across the district, that we need to have and do more restorative practice with our children. So the district is going to install and implement a restorative practice center here at Goodlettsville Middle School. It will not look like an in-school suspension room. It is absolutely beautiful. I cannot believe that, and then again I can, because I know Dr. Adrian Battle. It's going to be a wonderful place for children to go and to resolve issues. We started doing restorative circles this semester, and honestly, I'm so proud of the children. They do this well. And once they make the commitment to stick to it, they actually do it here. Again, it's our Trojan orientation time, so our Trojans are talented, responsible, optimistic, just, ambitious, and nurtured. And the one thing that we have to do as adults is nurture our children. There's service learning and project-based learning that's coming to Goodlettsville. We have STEAM and we have coding. The children absolutely love those things. In terms of talent management, we added new positions this year, so we have a numeracy coach. We also have an IB coordinator, and we have a full-time instructional specialist to work with our intervention program. So, in looking at the needs of the children, these were the things that the children needed as well as teachers need. So, this is the good stuff. Where is, or what was it? Show me the money. I'm sorry, we don't have a lot to show you, but this is what happened with the money this year. So we lost over $1 million next year. Our budget was 3.7 million for next year. And so we spent the school-based or the student-based budget on staffing. 91% of that budget was spent on staffing for the students at Goodlettsville Middle School. The remaining 8% was spent on library materials, copy expenses, instructional supplies, and visual and performing arts supplies. Most of that is required in the budget. I cannot build a budget without having a small purse of money for each one of those things. When we look at the Title I budget, 82% of the Title I budget was spent on staffing. And then 18% was spent on educational supplies and the software. That's iReady, iExcel. Those are the things that we spent that on. In ESSER 3, 23% of the ESSER budget. ESSER is the money that we are receiving post-COVID from the federal government. This is the second year that we get this money, and we will not get any more money after next year. So it was only money that was given to us by the federal government to kind of jumpstart us with the amount of learning loss that we would experience with the students. So 23% of that we spent on staffing, and then the 77% of that we spent on professional development for teachers, instructional supplies, tutoring, and again, software. Software that's being paid for out of ESSER is for the International Backlog Program. So, with the master schedule, again, IB is quite rigorous, so we have to have 6 to 8 class periods a day. So the kids are moving pretty quickly. Now, we did kind of test run this last semester when we had 8 classes on Tuesday and Thursday, and the kids loved it. I'm finding out that 90-minute classes really don't work in middle school anymore. They used to, but the students now would much rather have a shorter class transition, and teachers seem to enjoy it because you get to the point and you move on. So we do have to have a design class. The design class is for the IB students to work on their projects. They'll work on their projects during school. We do have to have a foreign language. So we will have foreign language next year here at Goodlettsville for the IB program. So the goals for next year. We have one of our absolute favorite people in the house tonight. Ms. Hurt is going to help us with our parental involvement and engagement. Goodlettsville is shifting and changing at a major rate. And so we are going to learn next year with her expertise of how to help our families even more. We need to do that. And how can we increase our school communication with our families? After you've been in a business for 20 years, certain things just don't come to you. It just, it just kind of rolls off of you. And so, even myself, I have some things that I need to learn about how to communicate with families. How can we better do that? And we want to encourage our families, our parents, to get involved and to volunteer. We need them to do that. And then we have a community and schools program with Miss Kelly Williams, who has been awesome. And so she will be here to provide support on the parent side as well. So today, we have partnered with Verizon Wireless and Tennessee State University to offer some of our students the opportunity to go to a STEAM program at Tennessee State this summer. It is absolutely and completely, totally free. And then, of course, we have Summer Promise. There are student summer internships for our 8th graders through the mayor's office. And then, of course, you always have the Y or Boys and Girls Club. I want to encourage parents, strongly suggest to parents, middle school children need to be involved in something. As a former principal from Memphis, summers are very scary. We lost a lot of our students in the summer because they weren't involved in some type of organized summer program. And they need to be. We hear a lot about our students, our middle schoolers and high school students. They're stealing cars, they're stealing guns, they're killing each other. And one thing that we've got to make sure that we do is get our children involved in something. So we will be pushing just summer programs really hard. Teachers will be calling to offer up, options and opportunities. We have gone as far as with Verizon and TSU. If we have enough students out here at Goodlettsville, we're going to pay for the bus, have the parents drop them off here at school, they get on the bus and they go to Tennessee State. The bus driver brings them back in the evenings, parents can pick them up right here. We know transportation is an issue, so we want to support our parents in that. Of course, we still have Summer Promise that students can participate in, but kids need to be involved this summer. All right. So I'm a lady that likes a lot of feedback and questions, what your thoughts are, because this is super important.
We're pushing that, we're going to IB for more, what school do we get to, it's also IB.
So we have several. We have several. They can feed into Hunter's Lane, they can feed into East, they can feed into Hillsborough. So they have options and choices. Yes, Bellevue Middle has IB, East Middle has IB, and then there's us. Also, I think it's West End may have it as well. But we are the four that actually, we have the real deal. So one of the budgets I did leave off here, now think about it. Because I know IB is another, it's another growth place for teachers, and it's a hard one. We did get a grant from the state to offer merit pay to teachers that are doing IB, which basically is everybody here. So there's training over the summer, and then we will pay for additional training from IB to come to Goodlettsville. So we are going to make sure that everybody is trained correctly. One of the things that we've got a little slight competition going in the district with IB. And so Dr. Swihart, huh? Yeah, Dr. Swihart of Bellevue, he said that he was, the IB program. I was like, well, you shouldn't have said that because, that gets me rolling, gets my blood pumping. So I want Goodlettsville to be the school to be. Yes. So the parent side to this, again, it's going to take some education for us all. The students that participate in IB, they will have 2 report cards. So there's a report card from the district, but there's also a report card from IB. So when the students get ready to go or start thinking about their next steps, if the school recognizes IB credit, they can get that with the IB report card. So that's something that I'm pushing real hard for. The program that we're talking about using, it houses everything for IB. So parents will have to be involved with the training of learning how to read all of this. They have to learn how to get resources and to help their student outside of the classroom. IB is not just within the 4 walls of the school. Parents have to be involved in this. I can't take your kid to the library on the weekend, but you can. And so the children will have, this is not for the faint at heart. So we're talking about training some real intellectual children that can take this to the next level. So yes, we will ask for a commitment from parents. You have to come and do at least 4 of the parent meetings so that you know what's going on. They have to be involved. When we start talking about 8th graders going to the diploma program, there are 4 schools in the district, but that doesn't mean that all of them are going to be for that particular student. So we have to figure out which one works best and then help parents. Well, Hillsborough might be the best one, but I can't get them to school in the morning. But they're buses and they're free. And so that's another part to our students and their growth that they've got to learn. So this is it's a huge undertaking, but the payout is phenomenal.